right, good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes, show number 8. We air every Monday at 10 p.m. on clubdeportes.com. Follow us on Twitter at FutbolAustin, Futbol Austin. Follow Club Deportes at Club Deportes. And be sure to visit clubdeportes.com for all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary. I visit it every day, and so does Coach Nick Saban. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man dismayed that David Beckham didn't return any of his 70 phone calls this weekend. It's David Alvarez.
Hey, yes. Thank you very much. You know, I bended like Beckham too. So
you were gunning for those VIP press box tickets, weren't you, David?
I was trying to get those VIP, but didn't quite made it. But I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for my friend David to give me the ticket.
Good.
The phone ready.
It was a little bit too late, you know.
I mean, you almost have the same name spelled basically the same way, so I figured, you know.
Yeah, but I bend it with both legs. He only can do it with the right.
There we go.
You know, I bend it
that's
with
a
only
throwdown
with the
challenge.
right, you know, so. I have an advantage.
I am also joined by a man who is joining me in saving up all his money so we can buy Chelsea Football Club. It's the one and only Jorge Chavez.
Yes,
welcome to the show, Jorge.
Especially with the news that just came out yesterday or today about a certain New York football team that's gunning for ownership of Chelsea.
Yes, yes. You just told me that right before.
We need to do a GoFund campaign really quick.
Jorge, you can't give me bad news like that before we do the show. I feel like it just kind of sets me off.
It's already set in stone?
No.
Okay.
There's interest, but
no. If it was set in stone, I would be hiding under the table.
Yeah, we would have canceled the show. So yeah, no.
Yeah, we would have had to cancel. Okay, but that is scary news.
Yeah.
Let's talk good news. Austin FC, 10 goals, 2 games. No team in MLS history has ever started a season with more goals through 2 matches than your hometown, Austin FC. Jerry's got the highlights, it looks like, ready to roll right here. Or at least he has a very, very fancy Austin FC versus
a very
Inter
big
Miami.
tease to the highlights.
Big tease. Jerry loves to toy with our hearts. But hey, we don't need highlights with the action.
Everybody knows what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Jorge, I want to start with you. What stood out to you the most in Austin FC's latest 5-goal masterpiece, a 5-1 win over Inter Miami?
Definitely the consistency. I mean, I'm not talking about the consistency of 5 goals every game, because let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
That's a lot to ask for.
That's a lot to ask for. But the consistency as a starting lineup. He had the exact same lineup from last game to this game. And that bodes well, particularly for the guys, for the new players. For Urruti, for Kip Keller, and for Danny Pereira. They must have done something to impress Josh Wolff from last game to still be starters this game, considering the guys that are behind them, especially Danny Pereira. I mean, he's got Johan Valencia, defending champion from Colombia.
Yes,
on the bench. He's keeping him on the bench, which bodes well really for both players. That Danny Pereira is much better than we probably thought, and about Johan Valencia, that the spark that he's able to provide when he does come in. It's impressive.
So I want to ask you about this, story. So actually, previously, you and I both thought that eventually, Moussa Djitté would supplant Maxi Rudy in the starting 11, and Johan Valencia would supplant Danny Pereira in the starting 11. After these 2 matches, are you feeling differently about that?
A little bit. Like I said, I think it's a good thing. I think I said one of the commentaries on Twitter that we could talk about Ethan Finley, because I had reservations, and I said them on this show that I thought he was just going to be another guy. I was wrong. I admit it, Ethan. I'm sorry. You're the man, because that just goes to show the quality bench that we have in Austin FC.
I think that is huge.
Yes, because if you're able to bring, let's take the case of Djitté. If Urruti play a good 60, 70 minutes, tires out the defense, and then you bring the speedster in Gite to provide a spark, or Ethan Finley as well. You know, fresh legs. They know what they're doing. At least in the case of Finley, obviously in Gite, we got the speed and the getting tired legs to defend even more. That's going to bode well for the rest of the season.
Think about last season. Okay, in the case of Philly, you have Ethan Finley coming on, scoring 2 goals in this match off the bench. Last season, it was guys like Jared Stroud, Kakuta Mane, and no disrespect to those guys. Ethan Finley looks to be a class or 2 above. Yes, clearly. Those players. And Stroud's young; he can develop into.
And it's one of those things. Ethan Finley used to be a regular call-up for the U.S. men's national team, so he's got the quality. Maybe not the quality for a national team anymore, but definitely the quality for MLS. And so he's that's just one of the additions of the other 5 or 6 that they've done already. So it's really good to see.
Absolutely. David, in between one of the 70 phone calls that you made to Mr. David Beckham, did you have a chance to watch any of this match?
Yeah, of course I had. I had another chance.
And what did you think? Did you form a few thoughts and opinions on this match?
I think many records were, shatters. They were shattered by this.
Record for goals in the first 2 matches of a season.
Exactly.
Who was the man of the match for you?
But imagine that Driussi was the player that Inter rejected.
Really? I did not know
Miami
that.
rejected Driussi, and now
that decision is not working out too well for him.
Not really.
So imagine. So definitely.
Was he the man of the match?
He was definitely the man of the match. Even though he even gave a pass for.
He did have the mistake that led to the
Miami goal, but for Campana. But
I think we can forgive him.
But we can forget that because honestly, he has, I believe, like how many goals?
3 goals.
3 goals and 5. He has 5 assists in 2 games. 2 assists.
2 assists and
goals,
3 goals.
Yeah. So he's definitely the most important player of the franchise.
I 100% agree with you, David. I'm going to go bigger than just specifically Austin FC, though. Can Driussi be a top 5 player in MLS this season?
Definitely.
You think so?
Yeah. For what he did, he had the beautiful goal that he had. We know the volley that he did. We call him in Spanish los tres dedos, man. But he put it with the outside of the right foot. Right, with the outside, he easily
and he was parallel. With the goal.
Easily could have done it with the left. Yeah, but he decided to do it with the right. So to have that thought change, it's just amazing. It's the guy is for real. So I give him. He can be a star anywhere.
Even he has such a free role.
And he was all over the field.
All over the field. Even on the first goal.
Yeah.
He actually goes way back and he's on the ball to start that move.
Yeah.
And then ultimately ends up finishing it. I don't know if you've seen any of the New England Revolution with Carlos Hill. It's a very similar thing. He's been one of the top 5 players in MLS over the last couple of seasons.
But then you have to
roll.
You have to think. Of course, you have Fagundes. They are creating those breaks.
Fagundes was excellent.
Yeah. And the fact that he can complement, the guys on top are complementing each other. That's what didn't happen last time.
I'm going to say something right here, David. I know you're going to get a little worked up when I say it. Okay, so I was watching and hopefully we'll get into this match more in depth later on. I was watching the Manchester Derby before this Austin FC match. And I loved how, and I've seen this a lot from Pep City this season, where you have the wingers just high and wide, and that stretches the defense and that creates space centrally for the attacking midfielders to run in and just wreak some havoc. And I could see Fagundes and Cecilia were high and wide, and that allowed Driussi and Ring too pop up centrally and cause their damage. And I really like the way this attack is looking from Austin FC right now. Is it a bit too hyperbolic, perhaps, to compare Austin FC to Manchester City?
No.
Or do you see similar principles?
It was the similar. I thought the same way because we have an early goal.
Both 4-3-3s. Oh, here we go. Jerry coming through in the clutch. Now, our beloved producer has informed us that ball actually went out of bounds there. David, you're skeptical.
I'm skeptical about that because we can see it from this angle.
Let's see it right here.
This angle, I think, is a little bit better if we can say it's out or it's in. Oh,
we don't know.
comment
goodness.
on that.
But yeah, that could have been either way. But the ball, though,
Did you-
I gotta say that was golazo by Cascante, but no defense.
With the assist from Breck Shea, by the way.
Breck Shea,
He did a great job of keeping him on side.
Going back, that's bending the ball.
Yeah,
Bended like Communish, not like Beckham.
Yeah,
Just to be clear, Bend It Like
Ruckus
Beckham
there.
is not sponsoring this episode of
Yeah.
Futbol En Vivo.
And Jedlin was overpowered over there. But this golazo, that's the one that we're talking about. That he chose to do it with the right in the air.
Just the instinct of not taking that extra step.
Yeah.
He just flicked it from the air with whatever
And it was
he
a
had.
cross by Fagundes too. He was involved right there.
And
that was a pass.
That was one mistake, and
But you know what? You'll take that every now and then because I love Driussi getting on the ball that deep because I think that pulls the defense forward because you have to recognize you have to step to him. And when you do that creates
this
so
was,
much space.
I think,
here's the first Ethan Finley, or the first.
Nobody touches the ball. That was straight. That was Alex Ring. Goal. Nobody touches the ball.
I looked at it over and over.
No, nobody touched it. If they would have touched the ball, it would have been offside, right?
In the back,
everybody would have been offside. But that was the break I was telling you. Fagundes break. When he go all the way to half field,
goal.
And that's a golazo.
Yeah, that one.
Golazo. Absolutely.
And that's the way to do it. And that's the way to finish a game, right? And with the crown, you got to finish with una guinda.
Yeah, and with the attacks in mind. I mean, they were already 4-1 up, and they were still attacking.
And Neville, I mean, can I say that Inter, didn't have much. They didn't have much. That defender Jedlin was weak. The only time he won one was when he beat Gite.
Yeah.
Gite, oh my God, Gite was so slow there.
Yeah,
I was like, easy win. I mean, sorry, Gite, but I think was one of the lowest.
It could be a little bit of inexperience in that because there was one pass where he was clearly going to be on a one-on-one against the goalkeeper, and he kicked it away from himself, and so the play was gone.
He had some.
He had a little bit of issue, but that those two Finley goals really goes to show what we were talking about earlier. That put in a quality guy like that with a tired defense because they got the runaround. They ran a lot because I got to see it from the. And it goes to mention that we had three different perspectives of the game.
Yes.
I was in the supporters section. You were in a bar in a brewery.
No.
But our esteemed leader here was in the press box.
We've sold out. We've sold out.
Yeah. You got a better vision.
We're press box
so
guys.
you can tell us. You can tell what was the difference. What do you think is different?
Well, I'll tell you what.
From that perspective.
We were talking before we came on, and we touched on these players earlier, but I think it's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Arruti really stood out to me. His work off the ball, the runs that he makes, leading the press, he does that exceptionally well.
Right.
So he really stood out. And also Danny Pereira. I've been, not just because he's Colombian, but I've been a big Johan Valencia needs to be in the starting 11 guy for most of, since we've been doing this show here on Club Deportes. Danny Pereira kind of changed my mind. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's kind of Pereira should start until proven otherwise. He was outstanding. He read the game really well. He made the right decisions as far as when to leave his line and press up and try and win the ball.
Except for the yellow card.
Yeah.
Well, you got defensive midfielders. You're going to get yellow cards.
Yeah, but
I don't want a defensive
that was one of the
midfielder
reasons.
that doesn't get yellow
that was
cards.
an easy decision to sub him too when you have a card like that.
Yeah,
and you have a sub.
And I think the thing that really stood out to me as far as this match versus what we saw last week against FC Cincinnati, Austin FC were kind of torn apart at times by FC Cincinnati on the counter. And just, if you look at this, and they gave up some pretty good chances. And if you actually look at the numbers, underlying numbers, 1.36 expected goals for FC Cincinnati, just 0.56 for Inter Miami. So Austin FC, even though they gave up the goal in this match, overall, the quality of chances they conceded against Miami far reduced versus what they conceded against FC Cincinnati. And I think Pereira was a big part of that, and I think Arruti was a big part of that. Because when Austin FC lost the ball, they won it back. I mean, Miami were not advancing hardly at all.
I don't know if we have the stats, but I didn't from the perspective down in the supporters section, I didn't see Miami
Second
give
half,
all that
second half
money
they had
shot on
they
goal.
have it in the second half. They have several chances,
Yeah.
and they kept some pressure. Campana came in, but I didn't see Robinson. I didn't see the new kid also that's supposed to play that.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention. That one of the things that we need to kind of point out is that I think they have 14 new players.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, so a completely overhauled team.
Completely overhauled. So I didn't expect Miami to be that bad. I expected them to be bad just because of 14 new players.
No,
17 departed. That can wreak havoc on a roster. So I expected them to be badly, but the one that really, there were two players that really I was surprised that they were bad for Miami. First is Breck Shea, but again,
how surprised were you that Breck Shea, center back, didn't have a great match?
not surprised at all. I'm surprised that he took the challenge. Kudos to him if
I was
he tried.
surprised he's still playing
He was
in
awful.
Premier.
He was-
I have a quick question for you, Jorge. Okay,
on.
so week 1, Jeff Cameron. Week
Yeah.
2, Breck Shea. Who will
Right.
be the next former U.S. men's national team player? Austin FC will
geez.
humiliate.
Well, we
in a
also
match.
had DeAndre Yedlin, who's the current U.S. men's national team player, who didn't do all that well.
Yeah,
So
I think he's still in Jan Kolmanich's back pocket.
Probably,
actually.
yeah.
His current location.
So I don't know who Portland has next. As far as the
I
men's
was
national team,
watching
but,
their game against LAFC, looking for who could it be. I didn't see anybody.
But the other
Any
player
candidates.
that's really disappointing and really needs to step up. I mean, there's no excuses. Is Gonzalo Higuain.
Yeah, he was.
He
bad.
complained.
He was really bad.
He started to complain about everything before the game started. He started to complain during warm-ups.
Hey,
I don't know.
They asked him
that
a
guy
question. They asked him a question in the Spanish channel, and he said, "Will you ever? You're thinking to go back to River, playing River in Argentina?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? I'm not going back there anymore. He's now going back to Argentina after he was mistreated because he missed a penalty in the Copa America. Remember that the ball is still." It's still a type of penalty that is still going around the universe.
Somehow we always find a way to bring up missed Argentina penalties.
But Higuain, I think he got what he doesn't have much help in the team.
He really doesn't, and it's showing in his frustration.
Yeah,
because he
had one
his
great
frustration
shot.
is showing.
You remember that the free kick that it was right on the line.
Yeah,
Stuver got it right on the line. So that
I
was
think technically he got credit with the assist too on Campana's.
it was his assist.
Yeah.
It was his assist. For sure.
But very quiet overall. I think I had it. I tweeted it out in the first half, just 15 touches.
But Inter has 6 shots on goal, and so did Austin. Both of them had 6 shots on goal. So.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of a difference
in terms of the quality of
59% possession and 41. Right.
Of those shots. Okay, but
they have 13 shots on goal, and Austin 8.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
Yes. So
I do.
Yeah,
that is
wow.
That is an incredible stat. That's even more impressive.
So that's when you don't see that Miami did have its better second half, right?
Yeah.
But they never really could, and they have too many errors on the back.
So do you think that Austin FC have been somewhat lucky? Because against Cincinnati, it was similar. They scored, I think, on their only 5 shots on goal.
It's just when I say last time, it's just the moon is aligned precisely right now, and we are getting everything we didn't get last year.
So ultimately, though,
because we're playing what we wanted to play. That Wolff wanted to play this way. Yeah, that's the way. Attacking, entertaining,
that's how we started setting play.
But it never happened after a year
because he didn't have the players last year,
and everybody thought that was the worst team in the world was Austin FC.
Wow.
And then in 2 games we have a new story.
It's the same coach, just a few little tweaks here and there, and a couple of new players.
And you cannot get to the game. It's like they have so many. They have a new section for a standing section.
That's right. They have a new standing.
It is getting exciting, guys.
Yeah.
So, David, how much would you say this hot start, 10 goals, 2 matches? How much of it is about the opposition, and how much of it is about Austin FC?
Well, we saw it about in this exactly what we're talking about. How both teams, even though we can say they're really bad, but they have their stats against Austin. And it could be said, like Neville said in the interview, that Austin got lucky. He got 10 goals, and 7 or 8 of them, 7 of those guys were lucky errors by big errors. They were not created by Austin FC.
Right, and like our esteemed colleague Jorge Duralde mentioned, one of them was probably offside, and the other one was probably out.
Did you say
should have been a
the one with Fagundes? Fagundes was outside. I gotta tell you, that was the ball bounced awkwardly. It just should not bounce that way, and he was really hard. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt. That was not offside,
right? And
because it was the pitch, it was not him. Because it still made the good cross.
And the other one where Finley scored on that was it Driussi that hit the cross? And
with the header.
Maybe not have touched the ball.
Urruti. But the guy I don't know who was in the back, he was offside for sure.
Yeah.
But they say that he touched it or Urruti, but
if Urruti would have touched it would have been offside.
Yes.
But
yes.
VAR, they confirmed it with VAR and
who got the goal?
Finley.
The guy in the back.
Yeah, the guy
offside.
The one
that was offside.
On the replays on ESPN, I was watching from the press box. And,
wow!
It looked like he touched the ball, and it looked like he was onside. So
I don't know.
The key was if Urruti had touched it, because Urruti was not onside.
He could have got that ball, but since he was injured, he couldn't reach it.
And that's even more impressive. We talked about that earlier. That you were impressed by his movement. He was injured. He played injured.
I did not know this. He had a hamstring.
He played injured, and he still was able to garner that much attention from Inter Miami's defense. And if you have a guy like that instills a little bit of fear, that just opens up. And Fagundes and Cecilio playing wide, the center backs are going to be in heaven with open shots and all sorts of stuff that are going to be coming good for them.
So we can say that we're lucky. Yes, we can say this is a lucky first game, but at the same time, it's excellent. It's wonderful, and Wolff out. I don't know.
Here's the question. Here's the question.
Jerry, could you get that image up? I wanna.
We got something for you here, David.
Okay,
we got something for you. It's just for you.
That's for me.
I can't wait for this.
We're not even saying anything, waiting for that graphic, but
okay. There's the graphic.
This is like Christmas Eve right here. I anticipate.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Okay, we see Driussi. That's awesome. But if you look down towards the bottom left there,
under
David,
coach, who's there?
The best. Driussi is one of the best in the league.
Let's concentrate on the coach.
Oh part. Chara is called Chilena.
A little lower.
Oh, on the left.
On the lower left there, coach. Who's that? Josh Wolff.
ATS.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness.
Is that the same? That's not the same Wolff out, is it?
No, that says ATX, not out.
That is Son. Son's only 17.
And the bench. Who's in the bench? It's not the coach. But anyways,
but
it's him.
But seriously speaking, now, I mean, it's impressive the turnaround that Josh. His tactics have not changed. His style has not changed. It's just the type of people that he has on the bench and as starters. And the consistency. Has he learned from his mistakes? He clearly made mistakes last season. But honestly, it's expected from a first-year coach that never had been a head coach anywhere before. Do you think, David, do you think he's turned the corner and learned from his mistakes?
No.
Whoa!
Wow!
How many goals did they need? 15 goals? 20 goals?
Just last week you were cashing in.
After we played Portland, Seattle, remember we gave us 6 games. We played real teams, not Farmers League team. Okay, these teams are the bottom. I mean, Inter has not won a game, 7 games since 7 games out. They haven't won any away games.
Cincinnati's won 9 games in their history.
So we played.
I saw a stat tweeted out by Matt Doyle on Twitter, and it was FC scored 10 goals in their first 2 games this season. FC Cincinnati, in their second MLS season, they scored 12 goals across the entirety of the season.
That's the stat that I saw.
Incredible stat.
But I got to say something about this, that I think Wolff is definitely a better coach than Neville. I mean, I have to say that. Something positive. And I think he's learning, and I think everybody can learn. I can learn from my errors, and because I say honestly that I don't think he got what it takes, but we give him so many chances last year. Which is like he was lucky that we have this.
Is he proving to you thus far that he has warranted those second chances?
I mean, right now, as far as today, yes, yeah. He's. I might like when somebody prove me wrong, right? I mean, everybody make prejudgment, right? And I say he was bad because he should have done. He has many of the same players doing this right now. It's like 80% of those players were last year.
True.
They were 80% of the
game. They didn't really make all that many changes, but.
Why you didn't do it last year when you had the same players?
I think there's a couple. I think Urruti is a big difference just having an actual striker to play up top that pushes Cecilia wide. I think Driussi for the full season is big. And I think Kolmanic is really he's really upgraded. He was good last season, but I think he's a complete left back.
I think definitely that makes a difference too, because you can say everything about the coach. But at the end of the day, many coaches are going to tell you. At the end of the day, are the players they're going to
and another one that doesn't get mentioned is a little bit like when an offensive lineman doesn't get mentioned in a football game. Kip Keller,
yeah.
The speed and the size that he provides, he interrupts plays without even trying.
Yeah,
he gets in the way. I mean, he may not get a touch on the ball or anything, but he gets in the way of the offensive players that they have to rethink the plays that they want to do.
Front foot defending from Austin FC.
And Lima, we don't forget about Lima, right? Lima also doing a good job. And Fagundo's being consistent, and it's beyond what he has done. I mean, not many midfielders, have so many goals. And I mean, he had a record right now.
But I definitely do agree that I'll repeat it. I gave him 10 games to see how much.
10 games.
How much
10 games.
He can gave. Some people gave him 5, but let's be honest. The schedule helps because they happen to play the 2 worst teams. But now the eye test comes. This next coming game at Portland is going to be important. But the interesting one to me is Seattle.
Seattle
bottom of the league, by the way,
because they're in the bottom of the league, and they pretty much still have the same players. It's the pride that's going to come out into them showing that they're still good. Is it going to come out this week, or are they going to lose again? And then it comes out next week when they visit. That's going to be a big test.
Definitely, Portland and Seattle are going to be. They will answer the questions pretty much.
I 100% agree. Okay, let's get some predictions for this Portland Timbers match. Is it going to be on Saturday, 9 p.m. away in Portland? Portland, they have 2 draws to start the season. They had a 2-2 draw with New England Revolution to start the season. 1-1 draw yesterday against LAFC. In both of these matches, Yimi Chara has scored
2 bicycle kicks in a row.
Chilenas.
Dos chilenas.
Yeah, really, really incredible. They've been lining up in like a 4-4-2 formation. They're okay without having the ball. They're cool with countering. So I think it's going to be definitely a tough test for Austin FC's attack. How will they perform against this Portland Timbers defense? They are much improved, I think, from a defensive standpoint than when they were last in Austin. When we saw them in the middle of last season, those 2 games where Austin FC just tore them up on the attacking side. Where do you see this one going, David? Do you think Austin FC, with the upgrading competition, is this going to kill the good vibes, or do you think Austin FC can keep the good times rolling?
Well, I think they can keep the good time rolling if they do the Bielsa style, which is
no, absolutely not. We don't want the 6 goals, 4 goals allowed.
No. But the Bielsa style.
Oh no, the other Bielsa.
The other Bielsa. Usually when you have a team like this, and you're gonna play away with a tough team. Are you going to park the bus or are you going to play the same way?
Oh, I see, yeah.
So
what do you think? Parking the bus or play the same?
The idea is to play the same way you play home, you play away. There's no difference. So that's what I'm saying. So that should be the way to play with Portland. And I think if we do that, we win.
So you're not parking the bus.
I don't think that's going to be – I think it's going to be a tie 2-2. I think they're going to be a little bit more conservative. We're going to be more conservative, and that's what my prediction would be, because I would prefer if they play the best, the attacking way. They play the way they're doing it and taking advantage of the errors from the other team too, and being alert and putting the pressure all the time.
Right.
I mean, honestly, those crosses, Sam Coleman, I mean, those it's just so impressive.
Yeah.
When you have that, and then you have the cross from Fagundes and Driussi being involved all the time, all game. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat, but let's see them.
But 2-2.
Playing up front.
That's your final answer. Okay, Jorge, what do you think?
I kind of in line with what David is saying. That depends on the lineup that Josh Wolff presents. If he presents the exact same lineup, it means that he's gonna use the exact same tactics he's using.
Would you go with that? Would you do the same lineup?
I'm not the coach, but
I would do it.
I think you have to, right?
It depends on obviously it depends on the quality of the opponent, and Portland is a much better opponent than both Cincinnati and Miami. So I do expect
and you're playing away too with a great crowd.
With a great
and
crowd.
we also will see how big is going to be the Austin crowd in Portland.
I'm hearing rumors that it's going to be pretty big.
Really?
It's going to be green over there.
It's going to be pretty big.
I said you can get confused.
Green is the color.
So because of the probable change in tactics, I probably also expect a tie. Probably I'll agree with David, a 2-2.
Okay.
But again, it depends on luck. For lack of anything else.
It's Timber against the Oaks. So
trees
it's going to be
trees.
a battle between a tree.
The battle of the forest.
Okay, so you guys are each going draws. You know what? I think the good times are going to continue for us FC. I'm going 2-1 Austin FC, and I'll tell you what. Here, I got a little. If Austin FC don't win this match next week, I'm sporting this.
Okay.
This is what I'm wearing next week.
All right.
For next week's show. If Austin FC don't win.
Okay, I don't think it fits my head.
Well, it's on me.
That's his challenge.
I'm confident.
We're clear.
I'm confident. You got the coach of the week.
Yeah.
Leading the team out there. You got Driussi. I think this team, they get it done. So 2-1 Austin FC.
And a shout out to Finley because I think he also made the second team.
Nice.
In the MLS team of the week. So three representatives.
Well deserved. And can I just say, I think because you guys alluded to this is definitely a step up in competition. And so if this doesn't go well, other than me having to wear this hat, I don't think people should overreact to the loss.
No.
I think there's still so much positive vibes about this team. They're playing so much better than what they did last season. A much deeper team. Driussi for the full season. I agree with you, David. I think he can be a top 5 player in MLS this season. That's how good I think this guy can be. So, if it doesn't go well, don't panic. I'll wear the hat. Everything will be fine.
Yes, it will be.
Don't panic. That's the clue.
Yeah,
don't panic.
Don't panic. That means you, David.
Don't come out with the Josh Wolff out stuff again.
No Wolff out. No Wolff out.
No. Don't panic.
I don't win next week.
Yeah.
Okay, one more note on MLS because Austin FC aren't the only team with a rabid fan base. Charlotte FC, 74,497 people, MLS record. 74,497 people turned up to watch a regular season MLS match. David, what does that mean to you?
When I was listening to the national anthem, I started crying. It's just like so beautiful. I mean, honestly,
and the reason why is because the mic. There was some technical problems with the mic for the singer of the national anthem, right over in the middle of the anthem. And what happened next was very impressive. Is the crowd continued with the song, and so that
reminded me of Chile playing Spain at the Maracanã Stadium.
Yes,
Maracanã Stadium with. The mic went off the Chilean national anthem, and everybody, the entire stadium in the Maracanã started singing the national anthem. So, I mean, it's very impressive. It's beautiful to listen to that, and to see that making a new team, Charlotte, making it means like the people, the city is really behind the team.
Yeah.
And the other good thing about it is Chicago, right? The Soldier Field, we have the second biggest attendance too. In the history of Chicago.
A little missed,
So we have attendance is going up,
right?
And in the MLS, and the games are getting better. And
Yeah, the
So
attention.
do you think this is sustainable for Charlotte, Jorge? This energy, this passion, this just incredible amount of attendance.
This is the thing that people need to recall. The game was played in the stadium for the NFL team.
Yes,
and so I think there's a soccer specific stadium that's going to be built in Charlotte, which is 30,000.
So I think there might ultimately be plans for that, but I think in the short term they're planning on closing off that upper bowl.
The upper bowl,
and it'll be about 38,000 will be the capacity.
But the thing is about playing in an NFL stadium when you cut off the bowl, there's always the option to open it.
Yes,
if there's enough demand, and because they're not going to say no to 20,000 extra tickets. So okay, we'll open it up because Atlanta United does the exact same thing. Seattle does the exact same thing. They block off the upper level, and when there's an important game or there's enough demand, they open it up. And so
they remind me a little bit what happened with Orlando FC. They have they used to play in until they have their new stadium, right?
And nobody shows up to that either. But anyways,
shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired. But again, it's impressive what's the slowly but surely love that U.S. soccer fans are showing now. Yeah. And not just U.S. soccer fans in the United States from all nationalities. They bring their passion from wherever they're coming from, or they're born with it. Well, growing up, and there's enough of that for a lot of teams it's sustainable.
Yeah, at least for Austin FC, with the awful campaign we have last year, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Let's be honest. They were awful.
It was people really left. People took off. They were so upset.
There were some loud voices out there that said they are not going to get tickets again.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
But because there's so many people waiting for you to do that, and now when you say that the team is winning, Jesus, you couldn't get a ticket. It was impossible to get a ticket.
You tried, David,
I tried. Yeah. But I lived the experience, It was very stressful, I got to tell you. Not to find a ticket.
Your buddy Beckham, he should have answered.
But, it's a good experience, because you're not going to get any resale, opportunities like in the old days with the paper ticket. There's nothing like that anymore.
There's no.
So, all technology-wise, you need to be ready. If you're not, it's my own fault. At the end of the day.
Well, I have to say, speaking about MLS, I can remember watching MLS when it was like, minor league baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
They're playing that, or the empty Meadowlands. You have like 5,000 people in a 70,000 seat.
That sounds like Dallas. Right. Okay.
Another shot fired.
In some markets, that is still the case.
Yeah.
Not in this one, and not in Charlotte.
But I think it's a good thing that tickets are tracked. That the stadium front office people know who's showing up, know who's going. Because in resale, anybody can buy any ticket. And suddenly you have 30, 40 supporters from the opposing team in the supporter section.
Yeah.
So,
it's better to have so much control in that situation.
Because,
right.
And that's
security is more important.
Because, segue into a bad situation.
Yes. Tragedy in Mexico this weekend to rapidly take a turn here. Fan violence erupted in the stands. The Liga MX match between Querétaro and Atlas. Just really, truly horrific scenes. I know Jerry's going to have a video he's going to play for us here, but as of now, I don't know what you guys have seen, but I've seen the latest is they're just confirming, I think, about 22 or so injured, but there were initial reports on Twitter were
that was fake news. Oh my God, it was fake
scarier.
News all over the. I mean, people.
Yeah, it was. But it was supported by some pretty graphic pictures that could have confirmed those initial rumors because
but those were pretty bad. I think some people lost eyes. They lost eye vision.
Really,
and.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
So when the first reports came from the official, authorities that there were no deaths, everybody was skeptical. It was so it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they're not dead, but the people really in extreme, conditions. There's three people in critical condition.
Yeah.
and other people in stable, but they are there, and what it's creating is just a huge problem for the Mexico League, La Liga MX.
What do you think should be done in a situation like this? Like, how do you stop this from happening?
You see many ways to do it, but one of the main things is to have the security. Like the security
was horrible, according to
right. Yeah.
Security was not good.
The security was not good.
Yeah.
What they decide to open the gates so that people can leave the stand and go into the pitch. So that's one of the decisions they took, and you can say that was a good decision. But the fact that they weren't prepared, they didn't have the security for this situation, it was just like unacceptable. And there's talks about having that team totally expelled from the.
Yeah, there are talks to have them kicked out.
La Corregidora, and it's a big chance that something like that can be done. But at the same time,
would you be in favor of that? Just kicking the team out of the league?
I wouldn't be in favor of that. I mean, I would just try to get certainties about the security.
As of now,
the
response from the Liga MX president is to ban away fans from matches.
Right.
He said that will happen.
Well, that's already happening.
Future.
That's happening in other countries. I mean, in Argentina, that's the way they play.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good decision to do that? Or?
No, it's not a good decision because it's an anti-family decision, right? The family cannot go to the stadium. You saw in the scenes like people with the little babies walking, crossing the field, all fearful of those battles.
With their kids without shirts. Because they were afraid that they would
get
hurt because they were wearing the shirt of the opposition.
And some kids
barbaric.
Save other players, like he give out with their shirts to give it to another person so it wouldn't be attacked. And the fact that you have to take the most. I mean, suspension would be one thing, but I think suspension to all those people that were on video. I mean, you have video of those one.
Right.
Use the same tactics, the same type of solutions that happen in England with the hooligans.
Yeah. I was gonna mention something about that. That when I brought up the issue about having tickets with credentialed supporters, have them get an email, a verified email, and that's the only way they're going to get tickets because. Even if they resell it on the street, whoever it is, they're going to have to do some way of electronically duplicate that to get into the stadium. There's ways of doing that. I mean, that's the way it's done now in pretty much all of MLS stadiums. You have to have a phone. You have to have a QR code to get into the stadium, and the stadium knows who you are. Yeah. And I have no problem with that as long as security, doesn't have an issue of not having enough security. And the problem that happened in Querétaro, and I've seen reports, is that the security that they had were these young women in pink shirts that were just holding people back. With all due respect, that's not enough.
I mean, you see like the Manchester Derby, it's like all the fans are separate. It's just two lines of
cops.
Cops.
Yeah. Actual police, not security. And so that's why it goes back to that. And I kind of agree with you, David, that they shouldn't ban away fans because they're going to show up.
Hurts the atmosphere.
And they're going to show up outside of the stadium. And so, when that happens, you lose control inside the stadium because they can't control outside.
Yeah.
What happened on the Mexico against Panama? They did some kind of a test.
Okay.
With 2,000 people.
I remember. Yes.
They did the IQ, the Q.
The QR code.
The QR. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they were reselling.
Right.
The tickets, and they're supposed to be
personal. Yeah.
So in Mexico, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
To follow that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good insight because then there's ways to do that. There's ways to overcome that kind of stuff. Bring your ID. In Mexico, everybody's got a voter card, credential with your photo on it. Yeah. That are pretty difficult to fake. And so if you have these levels of security of knowing who is going to be at your stadium, then maybe.
Yeah,
but
but
to
also
ban fans, that's
But the other thing is like, which I think is important, is just you see so many Mexican fans in the U.S. That they used to follow their teams, right? But because of this reason,
Fear of the violence?
So much because of the violence, this guy say, I'm never going to watch the Liga MX
you have
anymore.
To find a way to make it
I am
safer.
an American fan, but forget it. This is BS.
Yeah.
I will not. So those are some Mexican fans that they are reacting right now to what happened. They said, because it's not only that team, like all the Barras Bravas, in Mexico, you have the high potential of having that because they were raised to be like South American Barras Bravas, basically.
Right.
And South American Barras Bravas, that's what they do. They love the team so much that they hate.
Yeah, and
they learn to hate, and they use
that's
violence.
the issue I've always had with Barras.
Yeah.
There's passion. There's passion. You could see the passion the Austin FC fans have for the team. But then there's emotions. Passion does not equal emotion. And in emotion, you could love and you can hate, and if you hate, you have violence, and that's what's happened. That a lot of people confuse passion with and the way to show passion is to be violent, and that's just not the way it is. And
when it becomes a religion, it becomes when the team becomes a religion. That's a problem.
Exactly, and that's what even connotations of
religion. Okay.
Yeah, we only need to cover these things.
No symbols of religion in here.
Anyways, but that's the connotation because supporters groups relatively are new in South America. Yeah. They are more of a European and now U.S. team because we have supporters groups here. It's Los Verdes, Austin Anthem, Oak Army, even. There's other new groups that are coming up.
Yeah.
But those are supporters group because they want to support the team. They want to help the team, not necessarily show hate out to the other team. I mean, on Saturday, Los Verdes, kudos to them. They hung out with Southern Legion, which is a supporters group from Miami, and they had a great time out at the pitch.
And that's really what you want.
And that's really what it should be.
Support
When I went last year to the Colorado game, the Colorado Rapids supporters group, they're very congratulatory to us because even when we beat them.
Yeah,
and that's really how it should be.
When some Longhorns go to Oklahoma, they have this.
It's great. They nothing but love, but
no love from me for the Longhorns. To be clear, and I think you agree.
I don't have a skin in the game in the Longhorns of Oklahoma, but still,
because it's dangerous to go with a
it is dangerous to go.
in Oklahoma.
I mean, we did see, speaking of another sport, what happened with University of Texas visited Lubbock. I mean, they were rocking the players' bus. They were harassing the fans, the players in the game.
So they have a history there.
They have a history of that.
Took the goalposts at A&M, I believe.
Exactly, and and so to say that it doesn't happen in America, it happens in America.
It definitely does.
So it happened here too, but in soccer culture so far. So good.
So far, so good here in the U.S.
Yeah,
there's been little incidents even with
football.
us.
Yeah,
and, Houston.
In Houston last year, but minor
Kansas City
case
as well. So.
But you know that we're ready. Monterrey and I mean.
But
Atlas. Cruz Azul. Pumas. You will see. I mean, I'm thinking about all the fans that likely would be involved in another one like this because they're ready. They're ready to. I mean, the idea is like, okay, I support the team. I love this team. I'm gonna die for this team, but also I'm gonna kill for this team if I can.
Yeah, that's just a different level of.
Why are you gonna do that? I mean, there's no need.
Right, and to be to give a little bit of insight of, I'm not sure exactly how this worked for other supporters groups, but at least for Austin FC, we have actual security meetings with the front office when we go to away games, when we have visitors, because contrary to popular demand, to popular thinking, front office personnel pay attention to Twitter. They look at Twitter. They keep track of Twitter, the users, all that kind of stuff, because they want to make sure that violence doesn't happen. And in the case of the Atlas Querétaro game, there was a lot of banter in social networks, before the game, leading up to it.
So it was, the signs were there.
The signs were there, and the fact that if you see the videos, not the graphic ones because those I would not recommend those, but just of the general crowd,
I think
they were not that many.
Be able to get this isn't going to be graphic. We cleared this with our beloved Jorge Iturralde. But I think Jerry, if you can play the video, we got a video to show just kind of on this tragedy here. You'll find out just who's your friend. Don't be sad, I know
No, it's I think it's terrible. I think it's disgusting. That should never happen at any sporting event ever. You go to enjoy any sporting event, any event, and it's beyond unfortunate. That's not the word that it deserves. It's disgusting, and it's terrible for the people, and that's it should never happen.
Muy mal en ambas aficiones, no tiene por qué pasar eso. Muy mal por la seguridad del estadio, muy mal por total en todo. Y yo creo que lo que debe pasar es suspender a ambos equipos, tanto como Atlas y Querétaro de la Liga. Es reprobable lo que pasó. No sabemos la historia, quién empezó, pero igual los dos fueron afectados, se parece al parecer. Solamente fue Querétaro. Así que los dos otros equipos tienen que ser expulsados de la liga o al menos ya del torneo que está en vigor.
Eso no debe de pasar en los estadios. Uno como nosotros acá tratamos de implementar una cultura de familia, pues, de que todos pueden ir al estadio a disfrutar el partido. Y muy mal, muy desagradable ver esas imágenes y mal.
Y esperemos que aquí no suceda lo mismo. Creo que no, porque aquí creo que hay un poco más de seguridad. En México no sé qué está pasando. Creo que los directivos están, no sé, como que no se están haciendo muy, ¿cómo se puede decir? No están haciendo mucho caso de la afición, los dejan a su suerte y pues como que eso está mal.
Yeah, I mean, heartbreaking. The one that caught my eye and I tweeted it out is the two little kids running with their parents. And I asked it on Twitter. You think they're going to want to go back to a game after seeing all of this?
Wow.
They may not even want to follow football anymore. And that's the more the saddest part to me, that this kinds of actions hurt the sport because they're going to make people not want to follow it anymore. not go to a stadium, and that's going to hurt.
How damaging do you think this is for just the image of not just Liga MX, but of football as a whole?
I mean, after the initial reports that there were deaths, and then it was reported that there weren't. Violence is violence, and you don't ever want to be in a violent scene like that.
And to be clear, like what we just saw right there, that is not. Do not go looking for stuff like this. There's some horrible.
I mean, if you want to, you'll find it, because that's just the way the internet works nowadays. But it's heartbreaking to see, just how animalistic.
Yes, that's exactly the word for it,
animalistic. But the added, comfort, I guess, if you will, is that they have pictures of these guys. They'll find them, hopefully.
Well,
maybe
they have to. I mean, there's no other. When we talk about what we can do about it, I mean, we can talk about,
because if you have a guy that's drunk or whatever enough to kick a guy when he's unconscious in the head over and over, and get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys. I mean,
there's pictures of them, there's videos of them. So I think,
and that's really in the UK at least. I mean, the CCTV has gone a long way towards eradicating a lot of the hooliganism issues that exist.
And that's why I'm saying the technology, the QR codes and all that's one thing. But I'm sure they have cameras. Yeah. They're going to have cameras.
Well, they do, because I saw the video. We saw a lot. Everybody saw the videos.
And there's
from the phones,
photographers, and there's phones all over the place. So, and then these guys record themselves, which is,
look at me committing a crime.
Yeah,
I mean, those are always there.
Why do you think there's been so many successful arrests when the Capitol was attacked last year on the June 6th? They outed themselves. Yeah. And so, these guys, that's what they do. I mean, there was one picture that I saw where they proudly hung out, in the middle of the field.
Yeah. So.
And, you're going to get caught, hopefully. Again, this is Mexico.
But then
the
you have the
situation is not the
but you have different situations in Mexico. Like kind of, you don't want to think about the reflection of what's going on in the country.
Yeah, because
you don't want to make those comparisons, but it's in the back of the mind of many people, because there is something wrong about it, and the responses from the leadership also doesn't seem to be very
it's
constructive, to say the least.
It's not very reassuring.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But at the end of the day, we are in a world where we have a war right now in Ukraine. It's a huge country, huge part of the war, soccer war, and this is another type of violence that's happening in the other side of the war. Seems like we need to get more integrated to take a little bit more seriously what's going on. It's like violence is not a justification for anything.
No, it's not
for anything.
And so,
said, David. Well said.
But so hopefully things will there will be changes, definitely. Unfortunately, I think Federación de Fútbol Mexicana is a little slow in responding, but that's not because in previous cases they didn't respond all that well. But the way things are now, where we want immediate change, they're going to have to.
Public pressure can do something here.
Yeah, they're going to have pressure.
I think a good example of that was what happened with the cry for the goalie when we're getting the goalie getting banned. The team got banned from playing.
The chant,
the chanting.
Yeah,
and that took chant for a long time. I mean, it's still they have to.
They still have issues with it.
Yeah, so if they cannot deal with that.
Yeah, there was that commentary. There was that commentary.
Yeah.
I hope we have more hope.
We shall see. Let's
move on.
I agree, David. Yeah, horrible situation. But let's talk a little football. Let's pick things up. Let's talk about actual football. Let's go to Jerry. Throw it up to MLS. The standings there. How about the Western Conference standings?
Yeah,
how does that look to you?
I mean, it looks beautiful. Beautiful.
I wish we could get the goal differential. I wish we could get that, because that's really where it pops.
Yeah.
You get that +9.
Yeah, and you can see Seattle is at the bottom of the conference with 0 points.
Not many would have predicted that. I think it's fair to say.
No, and with the players that the team have, and I mean Houston, and Dallas, that they're not going to go anywhere. But
At least not until Hector Herrera arrives.
They're still not going to do anything.
Luka,
Not impressed,
Hey,
Jorge?
guys.
Not impressed. No.
but in the Eastern Conference, I think Cincinnati and Miami say something about, who do we play last time? So
Well, we played the worst team in the East, but not the second worst team in the East because Miami are in 11th. They did have a draw in their first match. And to be honest, I watched that match. I watched the Inter-Miami Chicago Fire match, and Miami were
fine.
decent. Fine.
It was
That's a good
fine.
word. That's
Yeah,
a good word for it.
It was fine.
They were
awful.
terrible. They weren't
They
awful.
were awful. They
weren't
didn't have
awful.
Plan B. They didn't have
You're
Plan
right.
C.
And to be fair with Cincinnati, they darn near pulled off a draw against DC United, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. It was a late penalty for DC United.
Injury time goal and penalty, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, penalty.
So does that show that Cincinnati's not as bad as we thought, which gives Austin's impressive 5-0 win against them seem even more impressive, or did Cincinnati get lucky in that game? Again, that's going to be something that's going to. It's too early in the season for all the teams to be labeled for the rest of the season.
We need to wait 6 games. Just 6 games for
that's probably a good measure.
Especially in MLS, it's a long season. It's
it's
really about how you're
34
playing
games.
towards the end of the season as opposed to how you start. I want to get your thoughts real quick because we're running short on time. I want to talk a little Manchester derby.
There you go.
I want to get your thoughts, Mr. Alvarez, on the Manchester City's 4-1 win over Manchester United. Now, City were showing signs of a bit of a wobble ahead of this match. They were very convincing in this victory over Manchester United. Does this win prove that they are clear title favorites despite Liverpool's tremendous form of late?
I mean, yes, definitely. They are title contenders for sure. I think they have what it takes. You see, Guardiola barely had the same team.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, they had a lot.
like-
Jack Grealish came in and played
Grealish
great.
in top, right, with Foden,
And then
Alvarez, and
was your
Richard
front three.
Mahrez. So, that doesn't matter who he plays. The team plays the same.
What did you think about United with Pogba and Fernandes up top? That 4-4-2 with those two up top.
They were for false nines.
False nines, yeah.
Nines that
Did
they
you
want
like
to have.
that? It worked a bit in the
At the
first half.
beginning,
In
at
the
the beginning it worked, but because you're gonna play, okay, I'm gonna play this way. They're gonna play just like you. They're trying to play the same way, right? But in the second half, things change.
Yeah, it
like
broke down.
that. I
That
think
second half
Guardiola.
was so dominant. So United had 0 shots in the second half, and there was a 15-minute stretch in this match where Manchester City had 92% possession.
Yeah.
92% possession.
No, and it was a pep talk. Like Pep Guardiola had a pep talk in the halftime, and it did make a huge impact on the game.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, the second half was mind-blowing from City, but I actually think the first half is the reason why I think this Manchester City team will ultimately win the title, because they weren't at their best. And I think United, they went out with a weird strategy. They played pretty well. I think despite some of the results, I think they are playing better under Rangnick than what they were under Solskjaer.
Yeah.
And despite all that, City still went into the half up 2-1. So even when they're not at their best, even when their opponents
still
are
better
hitting
than the
them
other
with their
team.
best shot,
Yeah.
they still go in 2-1 up. Do you feel similarly, Jorge?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did notice that there was quite a big change in the roster, in the starting lineup. But again, that goes to show the depth of the bench. And, we mentioned it earlier with Austin FC. Now that they have a quality bench, they're a much better team because that's what Manchester City does year in and year out. They have a quality bench that they could easily switch all 11 players and still get the same results.
Yeah,
so
that's why the way that Manchester City works. I mean, there's no
that's-
doubt about it. And
yeah.
you're right. I mean, we may try to make the same comparison with Austin FC. And in the first half, I think we played a little bit like Manchester
Just a little
City.
bit, yeah.
But I gotta tell you, where was Ronaldo?
Well, he was injured.
Literally,
He was
where
injured.
was he? 'Cause
Yeah.
he was injured, but he was not. He was apparently in Portugal, I think is what I'm hearing.
He was not at the game.
Well,
so
the other question.
Not very great
Well,
leadership.
yeah,
there.
one R is not there, but what happened with the other R, Rashford?
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
Marcus Rashford.
Yes,
He
yes.
was such an important part of the team.
He's really declined this
But he
season.
doesn't decline, but he doesn't have many minutes either.
I think he doesn't have minutes because he's
He
declined.
doesn't have. It's a little bit of a catch-22 there, but
Yeah.
But I was not surprised to see Anthony Alenga starting, and you're going to start.
Yeah,
Sancho.
I mean, the big change. Cavani, I guess, is out of form too.
How would you rate Rannick's time at United thus far?
It's just
I think-
average. I would say average. I would be
Looks like he's had 8 wins, 5 draws, 2 defeats, and it's been a fairly easy,
eight wins. Yeah,
fairly easy schedule. Though.
Yeah, but this defeat. I mean, it's just like you cannot lose with Man City. You know, it's like
yeah.
and never like this. It's the first time because Guardiola always have a hard time with Manchester United. It has not been easy.
No, this has been a much more competitive.
That was the best result he had in a long time against Manchester United. So, because it's uncomfortable to play against these big guys. You got to tell
Yeah,
you.
that's
I mean,
true.
It really is. And I hate to cut you off there, David, but we're out of time here on Futbol En Vivo. It's been just a fabulous
No Barcelona
show,
again.
you guys.
Wait a minute.
We got Jerry.
Jerry comes through again.
Oh, there it is.
Forgot about
the La
that.
Liga scores.
Yeah.
How do we forget La Liga? Wow.
Well, La Liga, Real Betis, Atletico Madrid. I think that was the big game. The big game of the week. Atletico beat Betis at home.
Yeah, that was
and
surprising.
Simeone is back. You know,
Atletico are quietly starting to, find their groove. They're
so
rediscovering
is
their
Barcelona. The Barcelona is unstoppable.
If you only took results from January 1st up to now, Barcelona would be top of La Liga by 3 points.
Yeah.
That's the form they've been.
And I like to compare what Xavi had done and the other dude that's gone did. You know, he is already surpassing.
Yeah.
you know.
With Koeman,
I mean,
think easily.
Koeman.
So, David, last week. You were pretty bullish on Real Betis.
Yeah.
A little impromptu Real Betis
Yes.
update for our audience here. Are you still liking their chances of finishing in the top 4? To me, that top 4 looks pretty solidified. I think Real, Sevilla, Barcelona, Atletico. I think those will be the 4 teams.
I mean, I think
the
the fight is going to be with Atletico. Like the 2 games, like Real Betis lost the last 2 games with Atletico and with Sevilla. So those were, but is in the Copa del Rey semifinals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a win at the last minute with Rayo Vallecano.
Incredible. Yeah, incredible win. Yeah,
Put
they're
it
in
in
the
there,
final.
so they're fighting it everywhere. I mean, Betis is fighting everywhere.
Yeah,
so
Borja Iglesias was the 92nd minute winner
Right.
to beat Rayo Vallecano.
yeah, so no, the La Liga is exciting, and Barca is back, and you
Yeah.
see, it's nice to see it. I really
And
love to see some competition for Real Madrid.
And just real quick, because I saw their name up there, and they got a big match coming up on Wednesday. Real Madrid, PSG. They're
PSG
down,
Champions
They're
League.
down 1-0
Yeah.
in the after the first leg. Who do you guys like in that one?
I think Barcelona's coming back. I mean, yeah, I think they'll
Real Madrid,
Real Madrid.
yeah.
Real Madrid is going to come back.
Yeah.
They were
they'll come back.
They were
Yeah.
excellent this weekend against Real Sociedad. They
Yeah.
4-1 winners. The only shot that Sociedad had in that match was a penalty. That was the only goal.
Yeah.
The only shot they had was a penalty. Other than that, they didn't allow anything.
Yeah.
And 1-4-1. I think Benzema's fit.
And-
Vinicius, I really think.
And PSG just lost.
Yes, they did. They lost to Nice.
Yeah.
And so I think there's real questions about their form right now. So
Yeah.
I kind of like Real's chances to turn this one around. How do you see it going?
Well, last time when you asked me about that, I said Real Madrid was going to take it all the way. That's what I say.
That's true.
And
I think we all
I
say
hate to go back. I don't want to go back into my word because if you ask me to, I would go with PSG this time.
Wow, so we're both switching it up, and you wish you could switch it up.
Right.
You're a man of your word, unlike Jorge and I.
Yeah.
That's why we have you on, David. Okay,
Yeah.
now we're for
Now we're
real.
really
Now
out of
we're
time.
really out of time. Unless Jerry's got any more leagues he wants to,
Yeah,
more scores he wants to flash.
some last minute things that he could.
All right.
Hey,
But,
well,
we're
it's Austin
All right.
versus Westlake.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
let's see if you
we
got
don't
that
have-
one,
we don't
Jared.
have
Let's see
those,
if you got
sorry.
that one.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to my 2 wonderful co-hosts right here, David and Jorge. Thanks to Jerry, as always. Thank you to Club Deportes. It's Futbol En Vivo. We'll do it again next week. Thanks to the audience as well, of course.